Hi, welcome to Pacific Nature TV. I'm your host, Alyx P, and I'm here today with Mr. John Klawitter, aka Arden Klawitter, of Arden Klawitter and the Power Claps. Thank you for joining us here on Pacific Nature TV.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for doing this.
So, I noticed you're sitting down. This is kind of a rare occasion, I feel like, to see you sitting. Usually, you're standing, hunched over a drum, something else. Why don't you like to sit?
I've done it for a long time. I played drums sitting down for a really long time. Sitting on that stool can kind of drain on you after a while, and I just realized I should play music standing up more often.
Really, because some of the times when you're playing the drums, you're not sitting down either. We have some examples here. Pass this. Okay.
This could be bad.
So, we have you at your Neptunos release show.
Okay.
Standing up.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here.
Well,
I mean, if we go a year earlier, here you are, Concept Music Festival.
yeah.
You're not even sitting down. I mean, if we go here to your most recent release,
Yeah.
Pacific Nature Records, you're still standing up. In fact, you're standing on your amp.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as I was saying, I was sitting down for a long time, and at a certain point, I had to make a conscious decision that I want to be standing up more often. It's a more energetic posture, maybe better for the spine. I've read internet articles that say that sitting down all day in your cubicle is worse for you than smoking. And what is that you're doing?
That's good to know, because
You're
I
doing-
sit down all day at my job, and
Yeah.
it takes a toll.
Yeah.
But I
And
also
smoking ain't
smoke,
helping,
so,
either.
you know.
It's a double whammy.
Double whammy. Soon you will be 21. I hear you're going to have lots of fun.
Yeah.
You're a Scorpio.
Yes. Yeah.
October 26th?
October 26th.
October 26th. 1994.
4. It's my birthday.
How do you feel about being a Scorpio? Does it have any real effect on your life?
I'm
You know,
not
Mac
sure.
DeMarco said astrology's bullshit.
Is that what Mac DeMarco said?
He said that. Yeah, he said that it's real.
Unfortunate for someone to say something so kind.
Is it? I mean, is it real? How do you feel about it?
I'm not.
Are you really a Scorpio?
According to my date of birth,
Do you accept
people tell me I'm a
compromise?
Scorpio.
Do you accept compromise?
I think I do. Is that a Scorpio?
Do you like change?
That's a really good question. I don't know. Maybe I do. See, I've been told that something about being a Scorpio is that you're really skeptical about a lot of things.
Really?
I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I can understand that, because I mean, you're a fixed sign, like clear past rules. You don't.
Exactly.
If something's a little sketchy, I can understand that. But you know,
I think
you're
that's the same thing I
you're
was
also a dog.
Year of the dog?
You're from the year of the dog.
Okay.
So you're honest. You're intelligent. You like results. You like
Perfect.
results.
Yeah.
I can see that. But one other thing that I thought was pretty interesting. As a Scorpio, you have the capacity to adapt in a group setting.
Okay.
How do you think that's affected your musical career thus far?
Interesting choice. I don't know. I don't always adapt to on a group setting. A lot of my favorite music that I've performed has been my favorite because it was easy, and a lot of that's been by myself, because sometimes it can be easier to do things when I don't have to explain it to other people. Sometimes it's hard to...
Well, I'd say you're pretty notorious for playing in many different groups and many different formations.
That's true.
You
That's
never
true.
do the same thing twice, so to speak.
People have said that.
On your birthday,
Mhm.
in 1965, the Beatles were knighted. How do you feel about the Beatles? Do you like the Beatles?
That's a good question. I like the Beatles, yeah. I haven't gotten super into their entire catalog, but a few records in there. When they're more psychedelic, I guess is how people categorize the Beatles' discography. I
So
like
maybe you're a little
Sgt.
more of
Pepper.
a Pink Floyd guy? We're not even going to consider the Rolling Stones.
Sure, no, absolutely not. Why would we
No,
even do that?
no need, no
Don't
need.
bring him up again.
No.
Period.
My dad will take care of that next time.
Well, he's
He's a Rolling Stones guy.
Sure.
He likes the Beatles, but I think he likes the Rolling Stones more.
There's always that comparison between the
I don't
Rolling Stones and
I
the
don't
Beatles.
understand.
I'm not sure if it's appropriate. Is it?
They're both English.
There we go. That makes sense. Yeah, Pink Floyd I was really into in early high school, and I really got into Dark Side of the Moon and Animals.
Classic.
Not really much else ever, but I've heard incredible things about their early output, like crazy things.
Yeah, in college, Dark Side of the Moon. I mean,
Yeah.
I like some of their stuff, like It's like Controls for the Heart of the Sun, one of my favorites. But
Awesome.
yeah, I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Concept albums,
Sure.
conceptual things,
Yeah.
they appeal to me. Do they appeal to you?
I think they do. It depends. I've had varying opinions on that. Is Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots? Is that a concept album? I think it is.
It's a concept album.
There's a part 1 and a part 2 of a song on that record.
There's modulated vocals. I mean,
It's very conceptual.
that gives it away right there, I feel like.
I think so. I love that record. Do you have any other examples?
I mean,
is Sgt. Pepper a concept record? Because I like it a
Oh,
lot.
I love that one too.
Yeah.
People say Pet Sounds is a concept record.
I like Pet Sounds a lot.
Pet Sounds is a great record.
What would the concept
Well,
be there?
I mean, concept is growing up and aging.
Cool.
It's a bit tenuous, I think, but
Yeah.
great album.
Yeah.
You're a conceptual performer as well, though.
Sure.
You've done a lot of interesting things. Like, for instance, you did this thing once where you would play in, like, 3 church groups in one day. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That was maybe not so much conceptual.
Really? I mean, religion hopping. That's pretty interesting.
There was no
That's
religion
pretty revolutionary.
hopping.
Really?
I think these were all maybe Lutheran affairs. Tell you the truth, I don't know the difference between the churches, but my family is Lutheran, whatever that entails. And I got involved in the church scene, as it were. And yeah, there were a few churches in Orange County that I would play at on Sundays. And it got to a point in probably like 8th grade or something like that, where I would play drums in one church, and then go to another church, and then go to another church, and I'd be playing drums at all of them. And it was weird. My dad would give me cans of Coca-Cola first thing in the morning to like wake me up. But then I think it went over to Sunkissed at some point too, and then I looked at
Sunkissed is great.
Sunkissed is awesome. I don't even think it has caffeine in it.
Sunkissed over Fanta any day.
You think so?
Oh, totally.
It tastes great.
Totally.
But I looked and there was no caffeine in it, so I'm not really sure what was going on
No,
there.
there's caffeine in Sunkissed.
I think it said no caffeine.
Well, maybe the one you got, but normal Sunkissed has caffeine.
Things were different.
We were a
in 8th
Sunkissed
grade.
family.
Really?
We were a Sunkissed family.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I guess I was too if my dad was giving it to me all the time.
Yeah, I mean, well, so speaking of Coca-Cola, since you like it so much, here we have some for you. This is the first gift for you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Wow, that's a
Pop this
quite the
open.
maneuver. Right?
Here you go.
Am I allowed to drink this?
Oh, go for it, go for it. So, you play in a band called Talk Tired Thantoy.
Yeah.
The nice fella named Zachary Keebach.
Yes.
And I heard when you met him through another nice person that we know, Mr. Isaiah Rollo. Shouts out to Isaiah. You were introduced as a kid who was into black metal.
That is how it happened. In middle school, I was eager to impress anybody, any way I knew how, and somehow I had a rapport established with Isaiah Rollo that I was into unusual types of music, I guess, for someone in middle school. So I told him I liked black metal, which I was familiar with because my brother liked black metal. And so I told him I was into it, and truth be told, I didn't know a thing about black metal. I didn't know what the difference between black metal and any other kind of metal was. But he took that to heart. I fooled him. I feel bad about it. But then, yeah, he introduced me to Zach Keebach as the kid who likes black metal, and I'm sure there wasn't a continued discussion about that. What I would have nothing to talk about. And I don't know if Zach listened to black metal either.
So, your next logical step was to form some sort of group and busk to make some money.
I was doing some busking in a jazz group with Zachary Keebach Bourbano playing guitar, and Connor Hughes playing saxophone, and often it was Adam Bretal playing bass. And we performed at some like school functions and like a wedding or two. And then besides that, we eventually got into busking, and we'd go down to Laguna Beach and play on like whatever the best corners were. The best corner possible, which I feel like maybe some Orange County natives would probably be familiar with, is the spot in front of an ice cream shop in Laguna Beach. And we set up shop there one day, made like $70 after playing for like a few hours, which was crazy. And then we went back another time, and there were dudes set up there who acted real tough.
So they kind of moved in on your territory a bit.
I think they probably already had it, and we were the kids who thought
moving
we
on
had
people's
found
territory.
something.
So that might create some problems. I heard you have a criminal record because of these exploits.
I do have a criminal record. Yeah, I absolutely do. Me and Connor one day went to that beach on our own because we couldn't rally up the other guys to play with us, I guess. And I set up my drums in front of this ice cream shop. We managed to get that spot that day.
Good spot.
He was playing a saxophone. We played some tunes, didn't make much money. A fellow came up to us and started telling us about this hand cream that he got from aliens. Aliens came down and gave him this hand cream that he applied to his skin, which turned him into one of these illuminated people, these luminous people he sees at these parties. He said, I go to these parties, man, in LA. Always going to these parties in LA with these luminous people with their hand creams that they get. He was telling us about that, but we didn't get much money. And then while we were playing, a police officer came up to us and said that she was performing a citizen's arrest on behalf of a place called, I don't know if I should name names, but there was a gallery.
Name it.
Should I name the name?
Name it. Name
okay,
names.
because I hate this place. I hate
Name
this
names.
place.
It's not fair.
The
what they
Finger
do.
Hut Gallery in Laguna
That's
Beach.
not even
Don't
good.
throw a brick through
That's
their
not
window.
even a good name.
No, it's a weird
Finger
name.
Hut?
I want to see them burn.
No, let's not burn anything.
Oh, I meant.
You know, if we can't formally.
I said not to throw a
we
brick
can't
through the
formally.
window.
We can't formally endorse violence at this point, but we can talk about names.
Sure.
Because names are important.
Finger
Names
Hut.
are good things. I mean, they kind of define you in some ways. I mean,
If you're
what
Finger
would a name like Boot Hill Chuggins say about you? You know?
That's a great question. Boot Hill Chuggins was a name that me and my good friend Cesar Tabrizi came up with for a project we recorded when we were in sophomore year of high school, and we improvised 40 minutes of material in my bedroom on an electronic drum set that I had, and he was playing his guitar through a Line 6 amp. And we recorded it through the speakers on my sister's laptop, and we compiled these improvised tracks into a project called Boot Hill Chuggins. Eventually, a year after, I started writing some songs to be played by a trio with me and Cesar and Adam Bretal, who was previously mentioned, for us to play them. And we called that project Boot Hill Chuggins as well, a little bit after Quinoa formed.
So you kept chugging, basically.
We kept chugging. I wanted to call Quinoa Boot Hill Chuggins too, but they didn't like the name. I still like the name.
I mean, Quinoa, tell us about that. It wasn't just you, so I mean, you can understand why they didn't want to call it Boot Hill Chuggins.
That's definitely fair. Quinoa I formed, we're really compiling a lot of different names here. I like this.
Names are great.
Names are great, as you said. Excellent. Quinoa was a band I formed with Connor Hughes, who was with me that fateful day when we developed our Criminal record. He was playing saxophone in Quinoa. Isaiah Rollo, who introduced me to Zach as the black metal kid, he was playing guitar in the group. I was playing drums, and Adam Bretal was playing bass. He's playing second guitar. He played bass for a little while.
He's a very multi-talented person.
Absolutely, yeah. Great bassist, great guitar player.
Shouts out to Adam Bretal.
Shouts out to Adam.
So there was another project that involved Zach and Bretal
Yes.
that you produced.
Yeah.
Cactus Eyes. Can you tell us a bit about the Cactus Eyes album? And that kind of like era before when you had just come back.
Yeah, I just came back from going to school in Washington. I was going to University of Washington. Got back from studying jazz up there, and I realized they didn't like studying jazz at all. So I came back, and I wanted to do a bunch of non-jazz things. Is that offensive to say I don't like jazz?
That's fine.
Okay.
You're allowed to have your own opinions here until they conflict with mine.
Thank you. So, you agree with me about jazz then?
Oh, I like jazz, but I mean, people who don't like jazz.
Yeah. Do you think
They're not like me, you know? They're not like me.
Do you think if someone were to say that jazz isn't real, would that be grounds for argument?
Well, I can't get into that at this moment.
Yeah, not yet.
But, not yet. Not quite yet.
Sure.
But, Cactus Eyes.
Cactus Eyes, yeah. I came back from Washington. I wanted to do a bunch of crazy stuff, so I started working on a solo record of mine called Zepaton. And while I was working on that, I think after a little while I got a little bit burnt out, and I wanted to take a break by making a record with Cactus Eyes. They released their first two records while I was in college at Washington, and I listened to them every day. I was obsessed with these things. And I got so into them. At the time, I thought that the production on one of the records sounded not good. I think I was kind of close-minded about it. Listening to it now, I think it sounds fantastic. I love the sound of it. But I was kind of snobby then, and I was like, oh man, these highs are too squealy, or something like that. But it's a beautiful record. So I was like, let me give you guys the real professional treatment in my home studio. And in reality, the record that I
Arden
produced...
Klawitter, the producer.
Arden Klawitter, the producer. Exactly. That's a good way to put it. I invited them into my home, and I did an alright job producing it, I guess. But it was a fantastic record. They have some amazing songs on there. Great songwriters, both of them.
Yeah. And so you also joined the Gloriosos around that time. You replaced another John drummer who was also a wonderful person.
A wonderful person, absolutely. Around that time, Isaiah Rollo got back into contact with me after Quinoa had disbanded when I went to Washington. And he asked me to record some songs for an album that he's working on. I did that, had a great time. They were awesome songs. And then I think a few days after we recorded, he asked me to play at a show at a place called Can You Not Vintage in Santa Ana. And were you involved in putting on that show?
That was not me. That is now known as Top Acid, Chris Gonzalez. Shouts out to Chris.
Yeah. I had an awesome time. And then the morning after that, at the building right around the corner from Can You Not, you had us play at Concept Fest.
Yep, that was 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
So that was around the time of Viaduct.
Yes.
Came out on Pacific Nature Records.
Gloriosa's
ago.
record. Yeah.
Gloriosa's record.
Yeah.
So you did the drums and percussion on that record, as well as future Gloriosa's albums until the eventual disbandment.
Yes, that is exactly what happened. Yeah. So after like playing 2 shows in a row, I decided to keep on playing with the band. I thought it was super fun. It was just me and Isaiah, and I had a really good time. Then I think maybe even our 3rd show was playing with playing at a show that you put together, which was the first Friendship Trail. So I think that was probably our 3rd show that we ever played, and I mean that was a blast too, obviously.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
You've been working on solo stuff the whole time. You've been playing with Talk Tired Thanatoid as well in the last
that's
like
true.
2 years, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, Zach called me before winter break and said, I have some math pop songs that I've been working on, and that really caught my interest. That sounded like a blast. So I was like, yeah, that sounds great. He asked me to play on these songs for a record that he wanted to do. He released a record called Donut Shop under the name Talk Tired Thanatoid, which had some amazing songs about donuts on it. I remember listening to that thing, and I thought, man, people are going to love this. I'm so proud of Zach. Then he asked me to play those math pop songs, which became the next Thanatoid record. And he played some shows with that during that winter break and released the record shortly after. And a lot of people really seemed to like it, and I love it too. So it was great. After that, we went on 2 tours with our friends in the band Panoramic, and that was amazing as well.
So you were also working on solo stuff at the time. You had this kind of alternate world that you were creating.
Yeah, you could definitely say that. A few months before I started playing with Zach, I released a record called Zepaton. And it basically, I guess, was a concept record in a sense. So I was with Connor Hughes and Adam Bretal and Zach Keebach on a camping trip, and I consumed alcohol for the first significant time in my life, and kind of the only significant time in my life. I consumed whiskey, and it made me so drunk that I went outside, I exited the tent that we were staying in, I got up on a table that was at the campground we were at, I stuck my arms up to the sky, and I visited a dang planet. It was crazy. It's kind of embarrassing to think about now, it was just whiskey. But I visited a planet, and the record is kind of about visiting this planet and how that might be a metaphor for coming of age at the time. Okay. And then I released another record called Neptunos almost a year after that had some B-sides from the record and some other things. Kind of touched on some other drug and coming of age related stories.
Yeah, it had a song called Die Behind the Wheel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And related to Steely Dan, a band
that is a
we
quote
both know
from
and
Steely
love.
Dan song. Yeah.
So, speaking of alcohol and Steely Dan, before we get to the next segment here, let's make some drinks.
Sure, that sounds great.
Start off with a drink. We're going to have a Black Cow, based on one of your favorite Steely Dan songs.
Yeah.
The record Asia, if you want to tell us a little
Asia,
about that. If we could have our mixing station come over here while you tell us a little bit about Steely Dan and Asia. You know,
it's
your
no
interest,
secret,
your interest in the
ladies and
band.
gentlemen. Yeah, of course. Steely Dan is one of my favorite bands. I think they're awesome. Asia is a record that they released that received a lot of attention. People like it a lot. I like it a lot. They released an album after that called Gaucho that I like even more. It's got a song called Hey 19 on it, one of their more high-profile songs.
It's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great song. Me and the drummer for my solo project, The Power Claps, Nadia, covered that song, Hey 19, at your birthday show a few months ago.
That's true.
Yeah. It was
a good time. So, for all you watching, we're making a Black Cow. 3 parts Coca-Cola. Let's start off with that. Then we have 2 parts Kahlua. Okay. And then 2 parts half and half. Mix this up.
That was great.
So, Die Behind the Wheel. It's
Yeah.
a bit of an interpolation.
An interpolation?
Interpolation, you're interpolating
Oh!
2 different kind of songs together. One from yourself and one from Steely Dan.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. That song, Die Behind the Wheel, I originally composed when I was a sophomore in high school, I believe. Right before I went on a trip with a good friend of mine, Nick Robbins, to Europe. And I composed that song the night of that, I believe, the night we left. I was really feeling the song Deacon Blues by Steely Dan at the time. I'd been into them for a while, but at that time I really got into Deacon Blues again, and it's got this awesome chorus that goes like, learn to play the saxophone. I play just what I feel, drink scotch whiskey all night long. And die behind the wheel. They got a name for the winners in the world. I want a name when I lose. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. Call me Deacon Blues, Deacon Blues. That's how the chorus goes. It's an amazing song. That's
So,
from the record Asia.
Actually, let me get a drink here.
Please.
Let's go ahead and take a root beer float with alcohol. So,
Ooh.
I have a gift for you.
Are you kidding? Thank you.
Yes. We have
goodness.
sound percussion funk sticks.
Sound percussion funk?
Your preferred stick.
These are my preferred
Your preferred
sticks when I'm
stick.
playing drums.
And
yeah,
I was
absolutely.
wondering
Sure.
if you would humor me.
Yeah,
I've always
absolutely.
wanted to do this. Let me put this down.
Okay. Should I put mine down too?
Yeah, you're gonna need to. So you're gonna need to open your drumsticks.
Okay.
So we were just singing Deacon Blues.
Yeah, absolutely.
You remember the chorus? We just said chorus is great.
Yeah.
So I really like the drum part in that song.
Okay.
Sorry. When I had sticks, I used one light one for the cymbals and the heavier
That's
one
cool.
for the snare.
Good idea.
Just how I do it. Yeah.
It's fine.
So I was wondering if you would air drum with me
yeah.
the chorus, starting
I'd be
with
happy
the
to.
2 hits. You know, the hit.
Yeah, I think I know.
Here, let,
Please,
I'll
give
show
me an
you.
example.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
So we're gonna go. Pa pa. Da-da, call me Deacon Blues. You know, but
Okay.
the one thing I forgot on that is you're stomping the hi-hat the whole time. That's like really
Are we
important,
stomping
right?
the hi-hat? Is that what the drummers
Do you
in this
not
song?
hear that?
No,
Oh my gosh.
I had
Yeah,
never.
the
I
stomping
always think
hi-hat
about that
is so
drum beat.
important.
Does he do it
Stomping
the whole
hi-hat.
song?
No,
Or
just
is
during
it
the chorus,
during
you
the
know,
chorus?
because like
Fascinating.
ta ta, and then he's just stomping the hi-hat the whole time.
Cool. Okay. So
So-
I'm gonna want to be stomping the hi-hat the
So
whole
you
time.
gotta remember the hi-hat.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's see if we can go in this together.
Sure.
Do you want to sing the words and I'll sing the drum part? Or do you want me to sing the drum part and I just?
I'd be happy to sing the words. That
Okay,
sounds
and
great.
I'll sing what I think the drum part is because I like singing drum part.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So here we go.
So we're starting from ba ba and die behind. Is that where we're starting from?
Mhm.
Cool. Let's do it. Should I count it in?
Yeah, you can count. Feel free.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ba ba.
Bada boom.
Die
Bada boom.
behind
Bada
the wheel for the winners in the world. I want a name when I lose. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. Call me Deacon
Bada-boom.
Blues.
There we go. Oh, thank you so much. This
You've
is
got
great.
the fills, and I was kind of keeping it down with the beat. That's what's necessary for a great drum beat, right? There's a tone to the snare hits on that song.
Oh, I know.
It almost sounds like he's hitting a tone at the same
Oh, I
time.
know. There's
It's entrancing.
It's like Peg, the opening flam of Peg.
Yeah.
I just love that, you know.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Drop it. Yeah. Sounds great.
The kick part and peg. I can't figure it out. What's the kick part and peg? Do you know? Do you have any
Don't
idea?
know. I don't study the drum parts too closely,
Really?
unfortunately.
You don't?
As many times as I listen
I
to
love
them.
the drum parts on Steely Dan records. You know, that's
I'm
interesting.
sure they're fantastic. I've listened to a lot of people talk about the drum parts.
What
from
intrigues you
Kahlua
about
Sisters.
Steely Dan records then?
Just because I love them so much. I can listen to like any given Steely Dan record every day and not get tired of it. They're just so dang listenable and catchy, and they sound so nice. They're so commercial in a way that you can listen to them over and over and not get tired of them. I believe, I don't want to misquote anyone, but Donald Fagen and Walter Becker, the brains behind Steely Dan, have said that their goal was to make music that you could never get tired of listening to. It's kind of commercialistic.
I think they did a good job.
They did.
They did a good job.
It's fantastic.
Good job, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I hear you've been singing a song of the past.
Yeah.
I've seen your tears. You have on your new tape on Pacific Nature Records.
Sure.
A song called 2015.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a song of the past.
Sure. Yeah.
What kind of inspired some of these things on your new tape?
The new tape, a lot of it is about things that have happened in my past, as songwriters often sing about, and certain things that have transpired in my life that didn't work out, especially in the year 2015. Some tricky things happened in my life, and that song was kind of the first time I've ever really gotten personal about things that have happened to me. I normally find it hard to talk lyrically about hard things that have happened, but I finally got a little bit personal with that one, and it felt good to talk
It was
about
definitely something I noticed with the new EP. There was a lot more things that was Arden Klawitter opening his soul to
Sure.
people. Because a lot of what you
good.
do seems to be cloaked in conceptualism and metaphor.
Definitely, especially in the past. But with the songs on that EP, yeah, absolutely. I was exploring more things that are really me, personal.
That's great. So how have we been treating you here at Pacific Nature Records? I mean,
Pacific Nature.
any qualms, comments, questions, concerns?
It's been beautiful. I've been having an amazing time doing the interview. I had an amazing experience putting out the record with you guys. The tapes are lovely. I love how they look. I love how they sound as well.
Some nice splatter on them.
There's a great splatter on the tapes. That's what I'm saying. It's a great splatter. I
Artwork
love it.
designed
Pacific
by...
Nature has been hooking it up very well.
The picture was taken by Nadia.
Yeah,
Another
Nadia
power
Nova.
clapper.
She is a power clapper. Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
a power clapper.
Yeah.
I don't get to stand anymore.
What is your... Yeah, something's going on with you.
It's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
know what the tape looks like. It looks good.
Do we know?
Ah, there we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's you. That's
Yeah.
you.
I know.
Standing again.
Okay. Yeah, the
Standing
picture was
again.
taken by Nadia Dubova, the drummer for the
Where was
Power
it taken?
Claps.
It was a beautiful location.
Thank you. It was taken in the neighborhood that my parents' house is at. It's where I live.
Really? Facing what direction? This is interesting. So it's in Laguna Hills.
Yeah, this is in Laguna Hills, and this is on a street next to my street that goes in an arc. And
Along the edge of the toll road.
Yes, along the edge of the 73 toll road.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
okay.
and there's a little trail up there that runs parallel to the 73. We went up there. I hauled my amp along this trail all the way up there, and it was hard. It's this kind of surface that has like a lot of wood chips and horse poop and stuff.
Horse
and
poop, that's a thing in Nelly Gill.
yeah, absolutely. Looks great. We had to haul the amp up the trail, and it was difficult. And we also had some time constraints because the sun is setting in the picture, and we had to find pictures that weren't too dark. It was a little tough, but
So
she made it
you
work.
went-
It's a great fun.
You went on tour right after releasing this with
Yeah.
Ramic. How was that? You played in some interesting locations, as it seems to be. You always play in interesting locations. I don't know how that works out, but tell us about
You
the
help
tour.
a lot with the
Tell us
friendship
about the
trails and
tour.
stuff. The tour was something I went on right after the EP release, as you said, with Panoramic, and I didn't set up any of the shows. They took care of most of that, and I believe you helped as well. But the shows were great on that tour. The first night of the tour, we played at VLHS in Pomona, which was fantastic. I played a 3-way round-robin set with
It's a great
Sailboat
set. It was a
Thief.
great set.
Thank you. They were fantastic. Sailboat Thief and Ben OVA, they played as well, some acoustic songs of theirs. And then I played 2 songs from that EP, and then Billy Joel cover of the song My Life. And that was a great show. Then we went up to San Francisco and played at a place called the Sutro Baths, which we listened to a podcast about it on the way up there, and it's the remnants of an aquarium, I believe, that were built by some fella who was building a lot of buildings in San
aquarium
Francisco.
and Turkish baths.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's the remnants of those. They didn't do well profit-wise, and some anonymous arsonist burned them at some point, and these are the remains of them, and we played inside a cave right next to them. Somebody mentioned to me right before I started playing that there was an earthquake and tsunami warning for San Francisco at the time. They mentioned that all of Yahoo's employees had been evacuated from the area due to the tsunami warnings. And the fact that you're playing at a cave right next to the ocean scared me. I was quite convinced that a tidal wave would sweep me away. And I was very nervous when I played that set. But it was still very fun. And then the next day we went to San Jose, played at a place called the Trash House. And that was amazing. The people there were super, super great. And then we went down to Rancho Cucamonga and played the final show at a place called Vital Music Collective. The owner of the place had to move out of the space after that show, but that was very fun too.
So you mentioned Billy Joel.
Yeah.
And I have another gift for you.
Fantastic,
It
okay.
is a Billy Joel Greatest Hits 1 and 2 cassette tape.
That's perfect.
In honor of your new cassette tape
Thank you.
that came out.
That's incredible.
Tell us a little bit about your relationship with Billy Joel.
My relationship with Billy Joel is not a very long-lasting one. It's somewhat recent. Last year I started working at a place called Mother's Market, and it was stressful for me. I don't do well in a retail setting. It was hard dealing with folks all day long. And the soundtrack that the store would play especially made things feel weird in that store for me, because they played the same songs every day, so often that you could hear the same song twice or 3 times in the same day. And the selection of songs they used at that store seemed to be picked from a playlist of weirdly annoying novelty music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I don't know who selects that kind of music for a grocery store. So most of the music was dreadful, but My Life by Billy Joel was on that playlist that they played every day. And every time that song came on, it made my day a little brighter, and it made it a little bit easier to get through it. And I developed a really strong affection for that song. I think it's an amazing song.
Really?
Yeah.
On your new EP, you have a lot more singer-songwriter kind of influences. You mentioned people like Joni Mitchell.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just listening to Joni Mitchell's Hejira on the way up today, and that's my favorite record by her, and that definitely inspired kind of the flow of the songs on there. They're a tad longer than maybe your average pop song. A lot of them go into the 4, 5, 6 minute mark, which is kind of almost a trait of Joni Mitchell's later output, I feel, where she kind of extends these songs in almost like an epic feeling kind of format, where she like goes verse after verse just expounding upon this story that she's creating, and it's beautiful. I love the way she carries the structure.
Interesting. So, do you want a patch of blue sky to follow you wherever you go?
I want a patch of blue sky to follow me wherever Wait, hold on.
Or do you not want to? When you feel like you could have gone longer or something?
That's a Y lyric, right?
I mean, it's a question.
Is it just a question?
It's a question.
Patch of blue sky to follow me.
I mean, are you a fan of the outdoors? I mean, you like nature? Do you spend all your time inside? I know you live in a little shack in the backyard.
I do live in a shack.
Do you just stay in the shack all day? I mean,
I like being in the shack quite often. For a long time, I considered myself to be an outdoors kind of person. I thought that I like to go on hikes.
like it's your Tinder profiles, and I like outdoors.
Exactly.
Mine does too.
Really?
Yeah, it does.
That's a good move. The last time I ever got too outdoorsy was that camping trip when I drank that alcohol. I don't get too outdoorsy, but I do like that Y song.
Okay.
I haven't been talking to the microphone the whole time.
It's okay. We got you covered.
Okay, great.
We got you covered. But now that you're back on, I'm happy. I'm happy.
I'm happy to be back.
So, do you think about rock and roll a lot?
Do I think about rock and roll?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not
how do you
totally
feel about
sure.
rock and roll? That's been a hot topic of discussion lately.
I guess it has been. Where me and most people I know are playing rock and roll. I think that's fair to say.
Axl status?
Axl Status is not rock music. That
Not
is
rock
electronic music. Though I would believe if at some point I referred to it as something like electronic rock or electro rock or electroc.
Electronic.
Maybe. I could totally see myself saying that.
Explain Axl status then.
Axl Status was my first real outlet for making songs that I started in, I think, 6th or 7th grade. And also on my sister's laptop, I had GarageBand on there. Came free with the laptop, as it does. And I used stock GarageBand loops, Apple loops they call them, to make songs that sounded like really bad Nine Inch Nails. And I called it Axl Status because I saw that graffitied under a highway at some point when I was younger, and I thought it was so cool. Was it cool? I don't know.
Safari Club?
That's a good question. Safari Club was a band that I was in with a feller named Andrew Remley and a feller named Grilled Cheese. Grilled Cheese being my next door neighbor, Andrew Remley being a guitar player who I went to high school with.
Who lives in Baltimore.
He lives in Baltimore now.
Baltimore.
Yeah. And we played in a band called Fairweather Friend before Safari Club that at a certain point disbanded. And he formed Safari Club with me and Grilled Cheese. And we played rock and roll, I think is probably the best way to put it. Not electroc, not psychobilly.
Not prog pop.
Not prog pop at all.
Not prog
no.
pop, okay.
We played some rock and roll. We played at the Viper Room in Los Angeles, which is a weird show. That place has an odd reputation. And then we played at the second story of this 3-story House of Blues that I think is on Sunset. I'm not totally sure. That was fun. I think we played there twice. And I had to play with brushes, which isn't super rock and roll. I wore glasses during one of the sets, even though it was an indoor show. I was wearing sunglasses while playing an indoor set at night. And somebody told me after the set that they thought I was blind, but I wasn't. I wasn't blind.
Definitely not blind.
Definitely not.
blind.
I probably just looked kind of foolish.
808 Jazz Quartet.
808 Jazz Quartet was a group, a jazz group. That's the same jazz group that I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, that me and Zach Keebach, Bourbano, and Connor Hughes, and Adam Bretal primarily played in high school. And that's the same group that would play at the beach and
So
play
you got your
weddings and
criminal
stuff.
record playing jazz.
Yeah, the 808 group, one half of the 808 group has a criminal record.
So
Yes.
you probably say then that jazz is real. It gave you a criminal record.
I definitely thought that jazz was real at the time. I'm not totally sure about how legitimate it is now. I don't know if it's real.
Well, how do you feel about basketball?
Basketball. I played it as a kid. I was never very good. The story I often tell is that I was playing on is Little League the right word for basketball?
I think it was called like LBJ or something, or maybe
LBJ.
that's a president, I don't know.
That might be a present. I was playing in some youth basketball program for a few years, and I never scored any baskets for my team. I only scored one basket the whole time. It was for the other team.
So, what else is coming up for you? Here you have a tour this winter.
That's true. I do have a tour, and I'm very excited about it. Me and Nadia in the Power Claps are going to Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Montana, Washington, Oregon, and then the Bay Area, and then back down with our awesome friend Tristan Puig, who
From
plays
Ainsworth?
Yeah, Ainsworth. He plays acoustic guitar in his solo project called Ainsworth, and we're going on that 3-week tour together in January. Nadia's concerned about the logistics of going to Montana in January and traveling on the roads there. I don't know how that will work
Bring
out.
tire
It's kind of
chains.
scary.
Just bring tire chains. It'll be
Is that
okay.
all it takes?
Bring tire chains. Oh, just bring a lot of jackets. It'll be cold.
Absolutely.
It will be cold.
Yeah. Nadia was showing me images of semi-trucks that had crashed over cliffs on these roads in Montana.
Are you driving a semi-truck on tour?
That's what I said. I said we're not going to be
I mean, you
driving.
could have like a whole, living situation in the back of a semi-truck.
That's
If you
absolutely
took that on
true.
tour.
I feel like there's some protocol to driving a semi-truck, especially on tour. How would you fit that in front of a venue?
I mean, depends on how big the house show is, I guess.
How big the house show is?
I mean, if it's like a mansion show in Kodo, you're good.
That would be great.
You're good.
We'll book some more mansion shows in Kodo.
We could totally hook it up here in Orange County.
Perfect.
OCDIY, the home of mansion shows.
Is that true?
The only mansion shows I've ever heard of were in Kodo.
Whoa, cool. Interesting. Yeah.
So, any other closing thoughts or statements?
I've had a great time. It's been beautiful.
Okay, well, there's one last thing we need to address before we end here.
Yeah.
You've made some bold statements in the past. I mean, you have your own comedy shows, so it makes sense that you would say bold things. I mean, and for the sake of comedy, but this is something unrelated to comedy, so let's compose ourselves for a serious moment here. You've said that there's no project too small, too huge, too easy, too difficult, or too deadly for you not to consider it.
That offer still stands.
The offer still stands.
It can be deadly, it can be small, it can be big. I love making music.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Here on Pacific Nature TV with Arden Klawitter and your host Alyx P. There's no project too small, too huge, too easy, too difficult, or too deadly for Arden Klawitter to not consider. Thank you for joining me.